Well, this is B3 Conversations, and we're back.
Take 2. We're here to talk about Fable and Microsoft a little bit.
At least Fable.
Mostly Fable, yeah.
So, don't know how many people have played Fable. We've actually played it since almost the very beginning. We got a special edition.
Yes, on the PC.
No,
No, it was on the Xbox.
no, we had the special edition on the Xbox. We remember it had it had all of the bits, the main game and the other
Lost Chapters DLC.
the Lost Chapters, which we didn't know. I just assumed that was the whole game because that's what we'd always
That's
had.
what we always had, so we just figured that was the entire game. Didn't realize it was an expansion.
Yeah, but we it's a good game. I personally really enjoyed the morality system in basically all of them. But we played Fable, Fable 2, Fable 3, Fable 4, which was a Fable Connect.
We shied away from.
We tried the demo,
We tried the demo
and it didn't work at all.
with the Connect because it was terrible. You were going to wind up dead all the time because your spells were never going to work. Because you had to do exactly the right thing in exactly the right motion, or Connect was like, negative.
I can't see you!
Yeah,
Connect was blind and
Yeah.
retarded back in the day.
most of the time at least.
Probably the only redeeming factor about Connect was the community, being able to talk to it. And even then, that was crap at times.
So, there's rumors of either a reboot or maybe redoing the first one for the new generation. I hope they don't do that. The first one's fine, they should leave it alone.
Yeah, they already did an anniversary. Just stop.
Yeah, it's really good. It's beautiful. It's got all the same fantastic gameplay as it originally had. It's perfect. It's weird that, well, maybe it's not weird. Maybe this is the standard. This is actually what happens more often than not. Is the first game that they make in a series sometimes, or maybe all the time, is the best one. This one was it was legendary.
Phenomenal.
And the second one wasn't bad. It just wasn't quite as good. It had a more extensive morality system
Yes.
that was complicated and weird,
Okay,
But very fun
but
to
a
do.
lot of fun.
nothing better than being pure evil or corrupt good.
Yeah,
Having fireflies and being all blue stuff.
that was the corrupt good. In original Fable, the morality system was you were either evil or you were good.
Yep.
And it was pretty simple. It was pretty easy to go back and forth because I did it so many times, switching from good to evil and back and forth so many times that my character could be full on, as dark as you can get, horns, the whole 9 yards, flies, all of that. And people would be cheering at him like he was the greatest thing ever, like he was the best hero in the universe. And I had times when I was as good as you could get. My morality was all the way good. I had the halo, the butterflies, the whole 9 yards. And the halo was cool because it was like Saturn's rings. It was like more than one halo.
And it would move up and down.
Yeah, it did cool stuff. And they'd run away screaming like I was the spawn of someplace bad, the void or something. They sort of took care of that in the second one.
Yes.
Whatever you were, that's kind of how it was. And it was a lot more challenging to be good in the second one, I thought.
Yeah.
Right?
It's so much easier just to be bad.
Mm-hmm.
If
was super easy
you
to
could
be
just
bad.
do a playthrough and not kill any kind of. I've done it where you kill no people in like villages, civilians and stuff, and I still wound up with horns somehow
Yeah.
because of the choices you made. And
Yeah.
I didn't even realize I was making them until I had big horns and fire and stuff.
So in the first one, it was pretty straightforward. If you killed bad stuff like undead, bandits,
Balverines.
which is like a Wolverine or a werewolf, you got good points. And if you were killing townsfolk and guards and stuff like that, you got bad points. So it was really straightforward. It was really easy to swing back and forth.
In the second one, it became more complicated, but in a good way.
The story in the second
Sure.
game was more complicated, which probably ended up with a more complicated morality, because the whole story of the second one was killing or avenging your sister that died at the beginning. And vengeance is kind of a bad thing, so you know, bad things lead to horns apparently.
And it was weird because in the second one, I don't remember the third one, but probably the third one too, you could get good and bad points, sometimes depending on what you ate or drank.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was weird.
That was something in the first game too, but it was
Was it?
Only tofu
with
had
tofu
and eating chickens.
and yeah,
Baby
eating-
chicks.
Oh yeah, eating baby chicks would give you 5 bad points. That's right.
The logic behind that was because they were still alive.
Yeah. And the tofu was good because apparently it's tofu.
Tofu is just good.
Apparently.
Yeah.
In the second one,
They expanded on it more. There were certain potions you could
Yeah.
find and drink, and it would give you, somewhere between 5 and 15 evil points. And same thing with the good side, you could do the same thing.
And the food was more in depth. There were more options for getting good points out of your food and stuff. Basically, if it's healthy, it's going to give you good points, and if it's chickens, you're going to get horns.
And there were also food
Yeah,
that also
more
helped
or less.
with the other alignment. In Fable 2, there was 2 bars. You had the good bar and evil bar and the little tracker.
Slider.
And then it had, was it?
Purity and corruption. Yeah.
And there were food that you could eat,
that would be
That would-
corruption or purity,
Yeah.
which would also help you with the corrupt pure
Mhm.
or pure evil or...
well, corrupt and pure or corrupt and good was actually pretty easy to do.
Yeah.
It was harder to get to good than it was to get to corrupt. If you were trying to go good and you wanted, but you were looking for that weird firefly corruptness,
Mm-hmm.
what you had to do was you had to start buying up properties and renting them out, and then jacking the prices way high. Because the higher the prices were, the more corrupt you were obviously are. So
And you could do the same thing with being evil. You could just kill everybody in a town and then buy all their stuff because it's cheap now because it's all vacant. And then lower the prices down and you become pure.
Yeah.
You just killed a bunch of people so you're still evil.
yeah, that's how that worked. It was pretty crazy.
It was fun.
In the third one, it was kind of the same way, but they didn't have the purity or corruption. It kind of went back to the first game's style of,
Yeah, the basic and good evil.
yeah.
Was it in the
Yeah.
third one?
Yeah,
It was more...
It was more straightforward.
And it was more
complicated.
visual too. Your character didn't change too much. Obviously, if you were good,
If you were good,
you kind of had this atmosphere of,
fair-skinned and blonde, and if you were evil, you were all pale and gray.
and it started to show in your features and
Like
eyes.
angry.
Like Sith corruption.
Yes.
Yeah, kind of.
It was almost a Sith type corruption. Yeah.
And every time you would perform special combat moves or attacks, you would have wings with floating horns or a halo.
Eventually.
Eventually.
After
Yeah.
you got so
Oh,
far in
yeah,
the main
yeah.
story, you have a choice between good and evil. And no matter what you've done before that, if you were completely gray and fucking evil and Sith and
There it is.
stuff, and then you chose to be good, you'd have the halo and the angel wings, but be all gray. And you could do the same with devil horns and
Good.
demon wings, and be all pretty looking and stuff.
Which is
It's really
hilarious.
hilarious.
So, some of the other small things that I think about the games that were cool. In the first game, you could do the same thing. You could get property and you could rent it out and do all that, and that's fine. But in order to get your money, you had to regularly make rounds to these places, or the money would get built up to the maximum amount,
And then
it would
stop.
just sit there.
Yeah.
It's not like it just kept growing. Whereas in the second couple, 2 and 3 Fables, the money just came to you.
Mhm.
It was like direct deposit.
Yep. As soon as
Yeah.
you logged in, boom.
Yeah. I logged in the other day to Fable 2, and I hadn't logged in probably over a year, and it probably doubled my money.
That being said, he had millions at the time. Millions of gold.
Well, it seems like everything in all these games revolves around money, one way or another. Kind of like life. It's a bummer. But, so what we did, or what I started doing was I started going and buying a property. As soon as I had a little bit of money, I'd buy the first one that I could afford and put it out for rent. And then as as you quest and you adventure and do all that and you make money on your adventures, whether it be from, looting it or from quest rewards or however that worked out, your money just grew faster. And so for like the first, I don't know, month, maybe,
Probably, yeah.
all I would do is work to get money so that I could buy more property, so that I have more money to buy more property. And then eventually, all your property, you own as much property as possible to own in the game, and then you're just generating all this money. And then the smart thing to do, and I liked this about the second two games as well, is you could go in and set up a repair bill sort of on them, so that they wouldn't,
They would
Damage.
stay nice.
yeah, they'd stay nice. They wouldn't wind up all run down and terrible.
Which would lower the rent that you would get. If
Yeah.
they were nicer,
The
if they
nicer they
stayed
were.
nice,
Mhm.
they would generate more money.
And you could also put new property inside the buildings too. So you
Yeah,
could have
yeah.
a rundown shack, but have everything inside look
Super nice.
pristine
Super nice.
and
like
nice.
some cultures.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, sorry. Just sideswiped everybody. Anyway, yeah, and you could do little things like that and generate more money. But I typically, and it would all depend on what I was trying to do with my morality. If I was trying to be, like in the second one, corrupt, obviously I was making lots of money, but usually I didn't. I usually had a much lower rent. I tried to keep the rent down so that, because that kind of gave you good points and good morality, so. What else? New game? We ready? Are we done talking about the old games? You can play boy or girl, male or female.
During the second and third one, which was
yeah.
nice.
The first one, it was you were a dude and that's all there was to it.
Yeah, the story revolved around a family, and you were the
Yeah.
son, and that's all there was to it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they continued that lineage of that family within the second and third one as well, which was nice because it sort of gave you a connection to the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The stories were a little different depending on which boy or girl decision you went with. There were only small changes, but they were still nice changes.
In-game NPCs were different,
Mhm.
Yes.
stuff like that. Stuff to revolve.
Reaction from the main bad guy during the beginning was a little different.
Mm-hmm.
He was more torn up if you were a girl because in the story he had lost his own daughter at a very young age,
Yeah.
and you could tell it ate at him a little bit.
Should have been a psycho.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hello. But just little things like that. So the first game revolved around a thing called the Heroes Guild, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
The Heroes Guild. And so being from a lineage of heroes, which is what your character was in Fable 1, Fable, and then your descendants, who wind up in Fable 2 and 3, are also of that lineage. You've got a little bit extra abilities and stuff like that. But we're hoping, if they do a reboot, there's a couple of ways they could go with it. They really I feel they should go back in time before the first one, do like a prequel kind of deal. But let's hopefully not make it all weird and crazy like that friggin' one outland in space thing. We'll talk about that another day.
Yeah, don't do that.
Because it was weird. Anyway, hopefully they go back earlier where there's more heroes. The Heroes Guild is larger. I think it'd be cool if it was an online game.
It would be set up. The whole world is perfect for an online game, especially back before the first game when there were still
Tons of
heroes and
Mhm.
tons of people willing to be not heroes.
Yeah.
You could have those could be the factions: heroes, bandits,
Sort of.
There was, well, bad guys.
Villains.
Whatever the opposite of heroes is.
Villains.
That. And it would be the heroes are the typical good guys and the villains are the typical bad guys. But because of the morality system in the other games, it should be in this game too. And you should be able to be an evil hero or a good villain. And that would be hilarious.
That makes PvP a little more challenging.
Doesn't it still be fun?
And
Well, if they do go like that, then they can do something similar with what they did in Star Wars: The Old Republic's PvP. Sometimes you could be an Imperial player, but you could get matched up with an entire Republic team.
well, and as long as we brought Star Wars up, the reason, or the best reason they should do it ahead of before, is because as we've stated, there was a time when there were tons and tons of heroes. It was just really common. Kind of like the difference between, Star Wars Galaxies, when there shouldn't have been any damn Jedi. Not everybody gets to be a Jedi because, I decided I'm going to just make a character today that's a Jedi. Versus Star Wars: The Old Republic, where it actually was a time when there were a buttload of Jedi and Sith, and it makes sense.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that another day too. Star Wars isn't the subject today.
No. Not C Fable. Stop getting sidetracked.
I'm not.
God.
I'm on task, more or less.
What were we talking about?
Fable.
Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of where we're at.
And they sorta, I'm gonna segue a little bit off from our idea. They sorta try to do that with their newest game back during 2016, 2017.
The Connect one?
No, the Star Wars, or Fable Legends idea was to go back in time before the first game when there was a bunch of heroes, but somehow they sort of pancaked on the idea.
That whole style of game is. It would have been a Fable in the style of Evolve, which that's
Really?
Yeah,
That's what they were doing?
That's what they were doing.
I'm glad it failed.
So am I.
Because you know what they shouldn't have done? They shouldn't have made Evolve, they should have made another Left 4 Dead. That's another video too.
Hello.
Sorry. Stay on task. Fable.
Right. I think the characters that they had inside the Fable Legends games were great. I think if they were planning to steal stuff from their other Fable games, I'd like them to steal the characters at least.
Well,
And bring them in as NPCs.
Yeah.
That way we could have different types of heroes. Because in the Legends games, there were heroes, and some of them were not good guys. Some of them were bad dudes. Some of them were thieves. Some of them were terrible warlocks and necromancers.
Reaver in the second Fable was technically on the good guy side, but he was a piece of.
Yeah.
So there you go.
And Conan was a thief too, so let's not be all hasty about thieves and stuff, at least in stories and video games and whatnot.
Yeah. But that's just a thought we had.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know.
Hope whatever they're doing, I hope it's not.
If they're doing something.
If they're doing something at all. It's just rumors that he found out about.
No, I think I saw or heard something about it.
One of these two found out about
Maybe
it.
it was on.
It might have been on the know.
I was gonna say I think it might have been on the Know. It might have been one of the episodes from the Know, which is another YouTube channel that we like to watch. And they were talking about it. It sounded like that might have been the case.
If there is
It also popped up during the time between the conversation of Microsoft possibly buying EA as well as Steam. I believe that's when it popped up. So if you look during that time period of videos for the Know, that you might find it.
If it's a video, we'll have a link to it.
Yes.
You know, I can't say that they won't be able to buy Steam, Microsoft. I just can't because they're huge. Yeah, they got all the money. They got more money than Jesus. Jesus has a lot of money. Just ask any of the big churches. I'm just saying. But Steam kind of has this weird plan where they want to try to have all their video games all run on Linux or something, not Windows. So I don't know that they're actually. I think they may find it morally objectionable to
Go.
To be
to
sold.
sell to
Yeah.
Microsoft. I don't know. I'm thinking if your goal in life is to make sure that what you do has nothing to do with this one particular wing of the world,
You shouldn't let them buy you.
you probably aren't going to be real, receptive to their offers. I'm just saying.
They're piles of cash.
I guess it depends on how much candy how many chocolates they bring, what kind of flowers, and what sweet nothings they whisper in their ears. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, Fable. I was the king. I had a castle. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That was a good thing about the second and third game.
That was
Third
the
game?
Yeah, that was the second game. And the second game, it was a DLC that you get to be king in, where the person who guided you through the whole entire deal set you up to be king through a bunch of trials and stuff, and then you were king, and then you had the castle and crown and stick and cape and thing.
Mm-hmm. Oh, weapons. We were going to talk about the Fable weapons.
Well, speaking of sticks,
Yes, that's what we brought it up. The weapons in the second and the third one had some interesting ideas, but the implementation was a little weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And they did a bunch of unique weapons for Fable, the original Fable, that to this day are some of the most legendary and beautiful weapons I think have been designed for a game.
yeah.
They're fairly simple because the game is what? 12, 15 years old now?
I think 2004 is when it came out on PC originally, but I'm not positive.
Yeah.
So,
It's been a long time.
almost a decade.
And,
if so.
Gosh, it's been out as long as friggin' wow.
Well, look it up on the anniversary edition. They look amazing there, and that's basically a brand new game.
Yeah,
in terms of
just
graphics.
done in HD, and but it's all the same models and all
Yeah.
that.
They look identical, just brandy new and polished
and
and
beautiful and whatnot.
fantastic.
There's a blue thing cutlass.
Something like that, yeah.
That's a wonderful weapon. There's been a couple of them in video games, and that's one of them that I thought to myself, if I had a blacksmith shop and the skills, that would be one I'd try to make because it's fantastic. I think.
I think if we were going to go off weapons that we like based off visuals, I believe my favorite one would have to probably be the axe from the first game.
The one you get out of the chest, the 20 key chest?
No, the one you get from the dungeon.
Yeah.
It's a stone
demon
face.
door.
The demon door.
Yeah, it has a
That's a
red
gray
body
matter.
with a silver head, and it gave you lifesteal and increased damage for killing Valverines.
Yeah, it was the one you got after you married the mayor.
Yes, and he went to her house. That was my favorite.
I married the mayor,
Yeah.
and then promptly got divorced.
Promptly punched her in the face for probably an hour.
She was. It was nothing like that. That's
It
just.
might have been 2 hours. In the game, you got skills based on stuff that you did, and one punch is one strength skill point. At the end of it, he was up to like 2,000 or 3,000. He punched her so many times.
That's
in the head.
That's exaggeration.
It's not
in
even.
fact,
I remember. I was there.
I don't think I even hit her
hilarious.
once. I think you're fibbing.
If it could have been recorded, I would have, because that would be priceless. It would be YouTube gold.
Yeah, because he had her back in the corner by the bed. Boom!
And it was
boom,
great because
boom.
she was screaming just far away from the guards, far enough away from the guards that they were not coming. So he was in a dead spot of guards, and they were just not gonna come because they didn't see it happening.
And sometimes he'd have to chase after her.
Yeah, you'd have to chase her down, get around, punch her back into the corner so that she couldn't get away.
I don't know what you're talking about. That's all lies. that doesn't sound like me at all.
Or what about the second game where you have the whore as your queen of Fable 2?
That's hilarious. That right there is some hilarity. Living in the castle.
Yeah.
She just had a hard life, and I was just trying to make it better for her. That's all.
Yep.
STD-ridden little royalties. Because your guy, that king in that particular save on the game has how many STDs?
All of them.
50 or 60?
No. It's like 20 or 30.
Oh, that's so much better.
It's not as bad as they're making it
It's
out.
all of them and some that haven't even been yet.
All right. before we go any further, let's clear one thing up right now. My guiding light is what's funny for me. If it's funny for me, especially in video games, I'm gonna do it every time. And some of that stuff is hilarious. So I'm sorry.
He's not sorry.
Oh gosh. So the second game though, I also have 2 wives?
It's awesome.
2 or 3 wives,
Well, at one time.
but I've been widowed like almost 30 times.
When he says he's been widowed, what he means to say is he's killed his wives that many times. Or beat them up enough to where they just leave.
And disappear.
Which is hilarious, because if he kills the wife, Child Protective Services is apparently a thing in the game, and they come and collect his kids.
No one shows up, the kids just stop talking to you and walk away real slow and weird, like,
Oh no! You must escape! And then they disappear, and you know. It's hilarious. I always have the theory that they grow up in game to become bandits and track him down, track his character down. It's a great theory.
none of that's happened. I've been watching for them.
You don't check their names. You don't.
Bandits.
They have names.
Bandits.
Okay. Well, exactly. How would you know then?
I'm just saying.
What the hell? For sake.
I'm just saying.
Okay, so back on topic. Weapons. What's your favorite, Jonah?
I like the one you get for being evil in the Demon Door. I forget what it's called, but it was like a pickaxe.
Yeah.
But instead of it being like an actual like stabby pick, the pick blade is like cut up and folded around and stuff, and then it's like a big flat surface that you pound people with.
Sort of.
And it's awesome.
Yeah. That's a good one.
I forget what it's called. We'll have a name for it later. And a picture maybe. We'll probably link pictures for all these too.
Yeah. Like our other video that hopefully turned out okay. There were at least some really funny bits in it. What else? What else do we like about them?
I like
Do we want to see a crafting? Do we want to see crafting in the new one if they do a new one, or do we just want to? Do we just want it to be more like the first game, where it's just all single player? I know EA said no one wants to play that way, but it's a lie.
Yeah,
It just
story-driven games.
Story-driven
are dying.
games about one person.
Don't you know?
One person gets out there and plays and has.
They're just.
They're garbage.
They're not worth a single. I mean, look at Mass Effect. That's a flop. After how many years of it being a success?
Or the Elder Scrolls.
Yeah, all of the Elder Scrolls.
ESO notwithstanding.
ESO notwithstanding, it doesn't count as an MMO.
Oh yeah. But then there is that company Bethesda, who basically said, yeah, no, that's not right. You're dumb. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about Fable.
Yeah, it's Fable, my fault.
I think if we were to add or implement, or have it as crafting system implemented, I kind of want to see it. Well, sort of play how the weapons act in Fable 3, but I would like you to take a weapon that's from the world and pull it apart. And if you like a piece of that weapon, you can add it to some special weapons you have. But
Like Dragon Age.
yeah,
Dragon Age Inquisition.
mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, what would you rather have?
That's a crap idea.
Straight crafting, or the system from Fable 3, where as you do stuff, the weapon evolves?
Just straight crafting, probably.
The weapon evolves.
Yeah. Don't you remember they get all crazy and change?
Yeah, so like depending on what you did, if you killed 25 bandits in a single goal,
Don't you remember after you go do the one deal in the cave and you kill a bunch of the zombies, your handle will change and become all bone? Typically, what happens?
I don't remember.
Well, that happens. So
Apparently, I was too busy divorcing my old ladies in Fable 2 to remember that shit.
beating up the mayor in Fable 1 for hours. I've done it too. It's hilarious. She always got away. I just wasn't as good as spousal abuse in video games.
The reality is, there are unkillables in Fable.
She's one of them.
She's one of them.
And it's hilarious to beat her
So,
up. And she's a hag, so she deserves it.
deserve seems a bit strong.
She killed her whole family to become mayor.
Oh yeah, that's true.
She's a hag. She
She
deserves
killed
it.
her entire family to become the mayor. That's a fact. So
I choose not to marry her and become mayor myself.
that sounds like karma.
Yeah.
Being married to your character.
No.
Getting beat up.
No, yeah. It sounds like I was just trying to balance karma out for the dead people. And actually, you do a quest for is it the dead sister?
Yes.
She's a ghost in the cellar. Of
You
her
go dig
house.
up her necklace or some sort of
Yeah.
bracelet,
Yeah.
and
This is all the spoilers.
yeah.
Yeah, we better stop talking about it. It's just on the off chance somebody hasn't played it.
Yeah.
Moral of the story is you do a quest and either you get to marry her or not.
Yeah.
What about what were we talking about? The new game? The MMO and stuff? Crafting and...
Well, we're hoping it may be something along those lines. It needs to be. I think it needs to be one of two things, and that's all. It either needs to be really close to the first game. I know, story-driven, RPG, single player. Sorry, I know. EA. Just plug your ears, EA. It'll be fine. But or it needs to be. They need to try and do an MMO because it's got all the things you need in an MMO. It's got a unique art style.
Yeah.
It just does. Especially if they're smart enough to look at the first one. It's got a unique art style. It's a known franchise, right? Like Warcraft or Knights of the Old Republic, something like, or
The Elder
Scrolls.
Scrolls, Fallout. It's a
Something
well
like that. It's
enough known name.
Yeah, it's got all of that, and people should easily be able to
Connect with the game. Connect to the
the-
lore
yeah,
and stuff.
Yeah, the lore is pretty straightforward, and the PvP will be pretty straightforward. They've got the things that we've talked about a couple times called demon doors. Those would obviously be your portals into dungeons or raids. I mean, it's the whole thing is set up. I don't know why they didn't go that way sooner, but it wasn't meant to be, I reckon.
Well,
Hopefully.
might have gone that way. Might have not gone that way sooner because Microsoft.
We don't know that.
We don't know that, but it's highly likely that Microsoft wanted money, and so they were trying to get them to make a game that was money-making template of game, type of game that's known to make money,
Which makes no sense.
which is stupid.
If you go with an MMO, right, you can kind of do something at DLC every 6 months, and that nothing crazy, but like $10, and
Well, there's tons of stuff that they can go off of from the other three games and just slowly implement it. The Lost Continent of Aurora, which was lost because they'd known about it at one point.
Yeah.
So
that's
it's
in the
logical.
first game,
So it's
isn't it? Isn't Aurora in the first game? Isn't that where you go to?
no, that's up north. The Aurora is the desert place in the third one.
Are you sure you're not thinking about Diablo?
Yeah, it's a different desert place. The I forget what the snow place is called in the first one that you go to in the Lost Chapters, right?
Apparently it's called the Snow Place.
Snow place. There's that place that you could go to. You could go to whatever not whole island was, make it a whole entire continent.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, if you look at just the zones in all of the three games that didn't suck, there's a lot there. It would be easy to build a gigantic world.
And there's an entire ocean, so who knows what's around the map.
We don't want to go under it.
Yeah, no, thank you.
We did that in,
Couple games.
what was that shit called?
Cataclysm?
Yeah.
That was a shit show.
We're not on that, we're talking about Fable. What else? I like the way that your physical attributes and the way your character looked in the games changed based on how much experience you put into strength, abilities, how much you put into magic or will. It was called will.
And then
skill. And what was the other one?
Skill.
Cunning? Oh, was it skill?
Skill, yeah.
and that was all your athletic stuff.
It's like big
Archery.
Ninjas and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's farm tools.
They were schmancy, medieval, magic-wielding ninjas.
Occasionally with giant weapons.
Yes, which was awesome. Well, but you had to have the right amount of strength, or you couldn't even pick the weapons up.
Or if you did, you'd swing them.
You could, but you'd swing it like
a wet noodle.
like you couldn't lift.
That's not true because the one hammer in the 20 key box in Fable, in what was that in the guild?
The guild hall back in the orchard area.
Yeah, that one you couldn't lift at all if your strength wasn't high enough. You didn't have at least a 7 on strength, and I think it was like 10, 1 through 10, and 1 through 11.
Well, that might be the exception though. Because,
Tell me.
well, I don't know, maybe, but I'm pretty sure at like 3 into physique or strength or whichever it was, you could pick up the bigger weapons. But until then, suck it.
And the more you put into physique, which is part of your strength tree, the bigger you physically got, you know, so.
And the more you put into the skill tree, the taller you got. And the more you put into the willpower, you got crazy magic like runes on your like tattoos and stuff. Just appeared, and your hands would glow, and your eyes would glow.
Like a mage should.
Weird.
What else? What else would we love to talk about?
Oh, the dog. Would we have a dog?
Yes.
In an MMO type game?
No, you don't need a dog in an MMO.
Well, I guess.
Why not?
Because you're not a hunter.
There's the guy in Fable.
Yeah, but he needed help in the second 2 games because of the weird stuff they had going on.
Well, there could be weird shit going on in the prequel game that we're talking about.
Oh, so it'll fail. So it's going to be a crap show and it's going to just friggin' fail right away. That's good to know.
It's possible. I mean, the first time that would happen.
If they do bring a dog in, I would like it to be more of a spell.
What about
Like if you go down the skill tree and let's say they do more stuff, I'd kind of like to be a ranger and then you could summon different type of creatures. Like you say you kill a Balverine, you can summon that last creature you killed, which is a Balverine. Then you just got this, 15-second, 20-second creature just killing stuff while you're shooting. As an idea. But it
Sounds a lot like a rock demon in another video game when it first came out. Because eventually you'd lose control and it'd run away and start tearing shit up.
it's just hilarious to do an order bar? Just freaking leave it, stay there, run away, wait 10 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever it was.
So,
Watch it kill everything. Weren't there Doom Guards then too that would do the same thing?
no.
There weren't?
No, Doom Guns was a Burning Crusade spell.
But it did the same thing at the time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
you still had
patched
to-
it pretty quick.
Because it was even more of a show.
Yeah, because it would go from regular Shadow Bolt to a Shadow Bolt volley and hit everybody around it.
Fable. Stop changing the subject. God.
So, that's our thoughts on what they hopefully do or maybe should do for the next Fable. If they bring it back. So I guess we're going to sign off now. So, leave a like, subscribe, or don't.
yeah, you can hate us.
Yeah.
I'm okay with
I
that.
don't care, I hate you.
Alright. Have
That's
a good
right.
one. Bye.
Well,
I